Awful with it.
All right, we are live. So thank you guys for joining me after about a week away. We are live with the next series of interviews, and tonight we are kicking it off with My Sweet Fall. They've graciously agreed to join me for the start of the next in our series of interviews.
Ready to install.
So why don't you guys go ahead and take a moment to introduce yourselves and tell everybody a little bit about your band for those who don't know who My Sweet Fall is.
Okay. I'm Zach. I play guitar and do some singing in it.
I'm Jake, and I also play guitar and do a little bit of singing.
I'm Brian, and I play drums.
And we're I guess, pop punk progressive alternative band. I don't really know where we are anymore. We kind of just go with what comes in our heads. From Indianapolis, like we said, and we're just trying to go somewhere, I guess. Doing what we can, doing interviews here and there to help out where we can, and using our music to hopefully create a positive influence on some people.
And for those of you watching who probably I skipped over and have no idea what this interview even is, my name is Monica, and I'm an advocate for No Kid Hungry. I was the creator of the Entertainment Industry End Hunger Challenge, which is quite a mouthful, so I kind of dumbed it down to the End Hunger Challenge. And My Sweet Fall has participated in an interview which, by them sitting down with me, has helped to raise $100 towards ending child hunger, which we can turn into 1,000 meals for children. So it's a big deal simply by them giving up their time. So for us to sit down right now, they're simply raising $100. Along with this video, you can find more information after this in regards to what you can do to help out with what they're doing with our quest to end child hunger. So that's just kind of what we're doing. That is what the whole project is. That's what they're participating in, and I appreciate their help. So that's what we're doing. So knowing what you guys are doing, my first question is, why did you choose to do this? I think I kind of reached out to you guys a while ago, and you could have said, I'm too busy, or, it's just not our thing, or, whatever. It does happen. What was it about this project that you guys decided to say, yep, we need to do this, or we want to be a part of this? Was there something that made you say, we need to do this?
I mean, we've definitely been busy and stuff and trying to do our own thing, but anytime we can reach out and help people in any sort of way, like you said, just by sitting here, we're raising $100 or 1,000 meals. That's really awesome just for us to take some time to sit down and talk. So anytime we can help out and do something positive with our band, we try to do that.
And it's good. Like you said, we're not really doing anything other than giving up a little bit of our time, and look what we're accomplishing simply by doing that. I mean, yeah. I know our schedules have been kind of busy, but the end result is huge, so we appreciate that. Okay, I know this is usually a sticky subject. I know this is usually icky with a lot of people because politics and religion are just something I avoid. But I usually say, that in order to eliminate a lot of the ills of the world, hunger, homelessness, whatever it be, we need to set aside religion, politics, all of our differences, for the bigger picture. And I see you guys nodding and agreeing. I guess my question would have been, do you agree with that? It isn't that I'm stepping on anybody's religion or saying, whatever you believe in, doesn't matter, I don't agree with that. But, if at the end of the day somebody's so hungry, they're not going to be able to focus on what you're trying to preach or trying to say because at the end of the day they're too hungry. Do you agree with that, or, what are your thoughts on?
Yeah, we're all human beings. I feel like it's just looking out for each other and making sure everybody's doing okay. Regardless of any race, religion, whatever you want to call it, we're all just people, and we should all be helping each other out. I believe that with anything like hunger or any other elements or anything. It's always good to just be a helping person, and that goes way further than saying you believe in something.
And I think the reason that I say that specifically with politics is because I saw a few cases, I don't know if you guys heard those, where there was a pastor and an elderly man who were trying to feed the homeless on the streets. And like that, I know it's an icky subject, but they're trying to feed the homeless, and they were fined, if you remember that, fined for feeding the homeless. And it's kind of like, where has it become that the government has to dictate that we can no longer help our fellow man? Why is it that we can no longer help our fellow man? And again, this is for No Kid Hungry, which deals with children, but where has it become that you and I can no longer, step outside and help a child in need? Where is it that, somebody else has to tell us, at the end of the day, if a child is so hungry that we have to wait for somebody else to tell us whether or not we can help them? Are we really helping those kids? I guess that's what I'm, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that I wasn't quite aware of any of that, but there's so many things in politics and stuff that we could give our opinion on and how much we disagree with it or agree with it. But, I mean, like, going back to it, like, we should just be able to do, what we want as far as helping people if it's not causing any harm to anyone else. Don't really get where the government has to say in that.
Here's something to think about when you guys were in school, because here's something I just did an interview with a teen, just a child that I sat down with, who talked about her views right now in school, what she sees with breakfast and lunches. So think back to when you guys were in school, because a new study just came out. We put all of this money in to free breakfast and free lunch for kids in need. Remember, I don't know if they had that when you were younger. I know they did for us, or the reduced lunches, at least, in breakfast. They're saying now that so many kids who need it, it's not getting to those kids in need for a couple of reasons. And one of the main ones is that stigma of, you're the poor kid, or I'm the poor kid, so I don't want to go down and get breakfast because I don't want to be seen as that poor kid. So even though I need it, I'm not going to go get it. So No Kid Hungry and a lot of the other organizations are trying to make it where across the board breakfast is being served mandatory as part of the beginning of the day, so that there's no longer that, they're missing it, because apparently we're missing the mark. It's not getting to the kids who need it. So even though we're, like you and I, doing this interview to raise money to end hunger, it's still not getting to the kids who need it because of this stigma of poverty and being seen as, I know you're the one who, goes home at night and doesn't have any food. So.
Going on that, unfortunately, there's a whole nother problem, bullying and stuff, which is something that needs to be looked at as well. But watching the video on the free breakfast and stuff, and watching how the teachers were saying, like, the kids were, like, communicating better, and, like, they all felt more like a family and stuff like that. It was really cool to see, and I think it's definitely something that a lot of people should take more, like, look into and see the positives out of that.
Yeah, then maybe we should start doing it as part of the day instead of making it the option where we're not making sure that they go down, before, and we just kind of not really monitoring. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't, versus kind of making sure. Then another thing that was brought up is portion sizes, giving preschoolers the same amount as the older kids. A hungry teenage boy the same amount as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old girl, and saying, here you go, that's all you get, and that's what it is. So the hunger's been around obviously for so long. I mean, I know we're trying to fix it, but we are all together doing the best we can. It's been around for a long time, but a lot of the things that have been done in the past decades or so have been what I call a Band-Aid fix, kind of a quick solution or a temporary fix for something that's been around for a long time. Excuse me. Are there any things in all of the videos that you watched, or what you're aware of what we're doing, that you think we could do to kind of get to that end result? I mean, I know it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, but do you have any ideas that you could think of, whether it's education or help to the farmers, something that would maybe be a starting point to get to ending hunger eventually?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the schooling goes and stuff, that is smart to just make a mandatory breakfast and everything. I know when I used to go in the morning, it's a lot of kids just hanging out in the hallways, and then a few people would go run into the cafeteria and grab breakfast real quick and then race to class. So to make everyone kind of have to sit in the cafeteria in the morning, just relax and have breakfast beforehand, I think would overall kind of end the stigma or any kind of like rushing to class so you're avoiding breakfast.
It was mentioned that sometimes they also don't have time. That number one, it's that stigma. Number two, either the buses are late or kids get dropped off because parents have a hard time getting them there on time, or just the rush of the day, so they don't have time, so then they're missing it. So that is another issue too. So then they're missing out. So definitely, even with the funding that we're raising, they're not getting the breakfast, and then their test scores go down. So it's a big issue with what's supposed to be the most important meal of the day is getting missed. So then half of your day is spent in the morning, oh, I'm so hungry, you're not paying attention, you can't focus on your work, and it just kind of snowballs the entire day. So definitely, I think, that's, trying to think, it's been a while since I've done one of the interviews since we took some time off here. So there's 3 of you together. Normally it's just one person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, which is fine. That's great. So for the 3 of you, or maybe each of you alone, has there been anybody in your lives who has been, it doesn't have to be anybody famous, just in your lives, who's been an inspiration for you to kind of get to the point where you're at, an inspiration in your lives to kind of be the voice with me of change. You're choosing to want to help to make the world a better place instead of somebody else who is, it's not my problem. I'm just going to sit here and let somebody else deal with it. What made you decide to want to step up?
I think it's kind of an obligation. Like when you start like doing things where you're performing in front of people, or like any kind of thing where people actually like follow you, I guess. I don't like, we have Twitter followers and Facebook people that follow our stuff, and I think when you become like something like that, it's kind of an obligation to try to do what you can with it, whether it's doing this or playing charity shows or anything. Like it's just really, it takes I don't want to say no effort, but it's doing something you love to help something that somebody else loves or somebody else needs, and I think that's just something that should be done with anybody that's in this situation, whether you're a small local band or huge touring band or anything. On top of that, inspirations, my dad always taught me to try to help people when I could, and we're brothers, so I guess our dad taught us to kind of just do that, and just help people out when they're in need and stuff, so I guess that would be the big inspiration there.
Yeah, definitely my dad as well. Always taught me to be the better man in any situation. But yeah.
That's good. No, I agree, because I interviewed somebody else and we talked about like you said, the big touring bands versus the smaller bands, and whether or not there's an obligation to pay it forward. And somebody mentioned something like when you get to that point, maybe they didn't really. It's kind of a role they stepped into whether or not they wanted to. It's kind of like you're forced into that, and maybe they didn't necessarily want to be put into that spot. But anytime, but it seems to be that sometimes the smaller bands, and I don't want to say that the wrong way, because I've met, many bigger bands, but it's how do you say it without offending anybody? The smaller bands, when you're first starting out, you find it more humble. A lot of times, but yeah. Okay, so getting to the end here, I don't know how many of the videos you watched, but you guys have a chance to nominate 3 people to do the interviews, almost like the Ice Bucket Challenge, where you guys get to nominate 3, whether it's bands or individual people, whoever, to sit down and do an interview. So you're going to call out 3 people that you want to nominate to do the End Hunger Challenge. So whether you want to do it unanimously or however you want to do it, now's your chance.
Okay. I think we'll start with our tour buddies this summer and go with Crunkosaurus Rex, the band.
Okay.
I'm sure we've posted something about them somewhere.
That's who I was going to say.
Right. We'll find them and, we'll call them out.
Okay. You got anybody?
Man. I don't know. There's so many.
Who else could we do? You got anybody?
We could do Chinook Kid too.
Yeah. you could do.
Chin Up Kid's another band right around Indianapolis, and we'll make them do it too. I'm sure
Alright.
they help.
What's another awesome band?
Yeah, we only know
We can
bands. So.
have Olivia do it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Olivia Mays. She does Live TV or Live Mays TV. She's a
Okay.
blogger as well.
Yeah, big promoter, blogger for Indianapolis and around here too.
All right. All right. So those three have been nominated, and then just send me the links. We'll connect later after this. But
Cool.
those three bands and people have been nominated, so we're going to see if they step up and accept their challenge and
Sure.
keep the ripple effect going, because that would be another $300, which would be 3,000 meals for a total of 4,000 meals raised. So let's see if they accept the challenge. My Sweet Fall, it has been a awesome time. I appreciate you sitting down with me. Simple interview, making waves for a great cause.
That's
So
awesome.
it's
Thank you.
wonderful. You guys have a great night. I appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You too. Thanks for having us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right, we